Artlist.io.
All right, episode 90 of the Erick and Brad Show. Well, Brad's done having sex and he's been wearing a condom ever since the abortion ruling came out. Meanwhile, on the other side of the country, did Erick get married? Or did he get cold feet and now he's on the lam? Stay tuned later in the show to find out what happened at the lake wedding of 22. Episode 90, my name is Brad, this is Erick. How's it going, man?
Fantastic. I can't believe it's episode 90. Did you fuck up and we've jumped ahead two episodes, or are we actually at 90?
Well, I can double check if you want, but I'm pretty sure it's accurate.
No, you don't have to double check. I'm doing fantastic, man. How are you doing?
I don't know. I mean, things are crazy. It's crazy. It's fucking, we are in complete crazyville for me.
What does on the lam mean?
Like on the run from Johnny Law, on the fucking...
Like L-A-M-B, lamb?
I don't know, or it's L-A-M. I'm not sure. I think it's L-A-M. On the lam.
On the lamb?
Yeah, like you're running from the law.
Never heard that before. First one, I heard the other day, cute as a bug's ear. And I was around a bunch of old people, and they're like, oh yeah, I haven't heard that in 50 years. Weird. People back in the 50s say that all the time. Why is it crazy where Brad's at? Is this North Dakota craziness? Is this world craziness?
It's Brad craziness. Well, it was 97 today. It's 100 tomorrow, weather-wise. So that's just... But who gives a shit? I mowed the lawn yesterday in jeans and a long sleeve and work boots. Because that's how we fucking do it, dude. And I'm on, today was day 24 in a row of 36 working. So I've worked 24 days in a row, and I have 12 more to go. So that's what's causing a lot of the craziness, because time is really a hard thing for me to sort of grasp onto right at this time. And then also my landlord's selling my house. So Brad's going to be moving.
Oh, no.
And there's no fucking, it's 100%. Brad's gonna be moving, so there's that too. And I'm like, can I move and then not pay rent while you're trying to sell the house? And he's like, no, you can't move until it sells. And I'm like, okay. So I don't know. So I don't know what that means. It's just crazyville for.
Wait. You can't move till it sells.
He's like, don't move until we sell it. Once we sell it, then you can move. I'm like,
fuck him. Like, what the fuck is that all about? And,
I'm like, well, I don't want to be moving. I don't want to be moving in January.
No, fuck that, dude. You start whatever comes up. That's crazy talk, bro. Like, unless he's selling it with a contingency that you get to keep living there as a tenant for the next person. Like, that'd be the only way I'd be like, okay, I'll do that. But if you go fuck yourself, bud.
Well, I don't really want to do that. I'd like to just move right now.
No, that's what I'm saying that'd be the only reason to stay. But if he's selling the house, no, he's high as he is using the shit out of you, and he's been using this good tenant thing. No, but that's bullcrap, dude. You leave now. Like, the second something pops up,
I'm not going to leave now. I'm going to prep. I'm going to prep hardcore, and I'm going to be ready to. I'm going to be Johnny.
I mean, you're in North Dakota, so I don't know, but if that was Portland, be ready to move in 30 days, because if you put a house on the market, you have 30 days.
No. We're talking months. We're talking months. It's going to be months.
Maybe.
Probably.
Maybe. You never know.
I don't know. Maybe people come over for a showing and I'm going to fucking stepbrothers it and I'm going to be dressed up like a Nazi or something and fucking
that's such a bullshit move, though, for him to ask you to do that. Like, no, don't move out until I sell the house. It's like, oh, because you don't want to pay mortgage payments as you're selling a house? You go fuck yourself. That's a dick landlord thing to say.
No, it's not. It's okay. It's okay.
If he phrased it like, I would sure love you not to move out before I go, but I mean, I'm telling you, I'm but if I was a landlord and I was in his position, I had a tenant, I'm selling the house, I'd be like, look, dude, I'm so sorry. I'm selling the house. I would love for you to stay until it sells, but I
Yeah.
totally understand. Like, leave whenever you want.
This situation is like if you were my landlord and you said, dude, can you stay until it sells? I'd be like, sure. Not some stranger. You know what I mean?
I mean, obviously you understand why he's saying that is because every
Yeah.
day that you're in there, if there's any overlap time, he's losing whatever your mortgage is or whatever his mortgage is, which I don't know. I mean, I would assume it's probably dirt cheap, you know, because he owned the house probably before the boom. So it's probably his mortgage is like $400 or some bullshit like that. Like,
pretty sure if you were say before the boom, I think you're talking like 15 years ago. So no.
he
You don't know
bought
what
it
you're
after
talking
that.
Yeah, when I moved in, he bought it for me to move in.
I was just assuming maybe this dude bought it in like 2000. And if you buy a house, I'm assuming in North Dakota in 2000, that shit was worth like
paid off.
$90,000. You know what I mean? Like,
Paid off right now. A bug literally just walked across your webcam.
nice, dog.
Jesus Christ.
Well, they won't see it because it's too different.
Yeah, I know, but it freaked me out. I'm going crazy. I feel like I'm really losing it. Anyway. I need to, before you're talking about all these serious kind of things, before anything happens, Brad just needs to get to day fucking 36 before anything happens. That's all I'm saying. Give me fucking 12 more days, and then I can do whatever.
So you're staying in North Dakota?
That's plan A.
That's plan A. But so this might be the catalyst that breaks the lamb's back.
Yeah, when I got this news, of course, the vision was just me just fucking hightailing it out of here.
Woo!
Fucking burning rubber. But no, the plan is to stay in North Dakota.
Hell yeah. Well, it's summertime. It's a good time to move, you know?
Yeah.
It'd be a lot easier to move now than it would be in negative 30-degree weather. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do not want to do that. Fuck
So I would definitely plan, like, you're out at least by, September.
I fucking hope so, dude. I hope so.
Well, I would just make the move. I wouldn't wait for anything. I'd just be like, by September 18th, we're out of this bitch. We're done.
Yeah, I know.
I have a funny story.
Did you get married?
I did get married.
Did you somehow plan with the rest of the entire country, or at least everybody on my Facebook page, to everybody get married on the same weekend? Because everybody got married the same fucking day. Like, literally a dozen different people that I know. And I'm like, let me ask you, was this coordinated? Did you coordinate with other people? We're all going to get married.
This was an Illuminati plan to
I don't know why, in the history of
economy.
In my 30 years, the day
Biden wrote me a check, and he's like, "Look, you got to get married. Okay, we need to boost this economy back up. We need people going to weddings. Bed Bath and Beyond is dying right now, and we need some weddings in this bitch. We need some gift.
It was like a $500 check, and you're like, done. We're getting married.
Done, dog. We're getting married. No, it was good. It was great. I mean, it was. What, dude? I see you. You're there. Everything's clear. You're freaking out.
No, I know. I got to turn you up in my head.
Oh, no, it was great. We were getting a little worried. Like the week before, so we got married on a Saturday. It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was like rain, and then Saturday, like the morning of Saturday, because we were planning on getting married at 8 a.m. The morning of Saturday was like lightning storms, and we're like, shit. And so we're kind of like, we're sticking with the plan because people are coming. That was the plan, and it was like, well, fuck it, if that's what it is. And then Cheyenne was getting a little excited. I'll say I was getting a little excited too. Like, how cool would a wedding photo be on the lake, like with a lightning strike behind you? That'd be the dopest. That would be a dope wedding picture. But no, it was. Saturday morning hits, and first thing I was like, well, we're not going out, because the original idea was we were going to take the houseboat out, and I was like, that's not smart, you know what I mean, with lightning being on a big, 20-foot tall, 18-foot tall thing out in the middle of the lake, made of metal, that's not a good That's not a good place to be. So we
Yeah.
called that off. I was like, we'll just stay on the dock. And well, which is good because they got a brand new dock. It was just built last year, and so at least you weren't walking on some shitty ass dock. So it was nice. And then it cleared up for like 3 hours for the wedding. It was like perfect. Like right as the wedding ended and people started leaving, thunderclouds rolled in. I was like, well, perfect. That worked out great.
Did you get drunk?
Oh yeah, I got very very drunk.
God.
The first week I was there was a fucking blur, dog. I was going hard in the paint, very hard in the paint. Yeah.
Why don't next time you take a vacation, why don't you go somewhere other than fucking Sandpoint?
Well,
Like a family trip somewhere other than Sandpoint.
Every single year.
I know.
Every year I go, when I'm leaving, I'm like, next year we're not fucking going to Idaho. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
go
done
somewhere
with that
new.
place.
Yeah.
But then it comes around and it's like you cannot. There's no cheaper vacation than what I just did. I mean, I spent a little bit of money, but it's like I don't have to pay for any lodging, and it's not like it feels like you're on a vacation. You're on a houseboat. It's like, and somehow I don't. What?
I know. It's just, it seems like eventually you're going to have to take those children to somewhere other than Idaho.
Totes. Aurora loves it. That's her favorite place to go.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I
her
love it too.
favorite vacation. I mean, because you just open the slider door and there's a jumping platform. So it's like every day she's like, can I put on my bathing suit? Can I jump? You know?
Yeah.
And that's her favorite thing is just jump off the back and go swimming. And we pulled out the paddleboard this year, and she started doing the paddleboard, and she was in love with that. So we just tie a rope to the paddleboard and just send her on her way. And then she's tied to the paddleboard, so if something goes wrong, you just grab that rope and start pulling her back in. No, it was cool. It was cool. We got one cool thing. I'm gonna have to do some video editing of it. I'm sure on Facebook I'll do it. But the lady who did all my pictures, she did at the end of it. We went out. My brother had brought his ski boat up, and it's a decent looking ski boat. It's not like brand new, but it's a nice ski boat. And me and Cheyenne took that out, and then the girl doing the photography took a drone out, and then was like passing us as we were like passing the boat, and like Cheyenne went up in the front of the boat with her dress. So there'll be some cool videography things there. It was the hard part about doing that is we need like a walkie-talkie or something. Because once I was out in the boat, I couldn't see the drone. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't know where the damn drone's at. And she was having the same problem because we were like doing things. I was like, she's just gonna have to follow my lead on it, Because what I do is I'd like go out and like do a 360 in the boat and then like come straight in. And I was imagining the drone would just pass me as I was going in. You know what I mean? But there was like multiple times where we were like ill-timed. She's like trying to get ready and I'm fucking blazing in on the boat, but it was fun. It was good. And it was pretty much just family. It was a good wedding.
Did you see any Sandpoint friends, or did you just drink?
Well, so the wedding, I didn't want anyone to come out, so it was just family. And then I like the reception, if you want to call it. Once we were all done, then I had just a handful of just 3 friends come out, and pretty much told all of them to leave your kids at home because it's too crazy. Dude, it was a shit show. I mean, just with family, we went out to a restaurant after a bunch of people had left, and there was 16 of us. Like,
where'd you go?
It was Pearls on the Lake, and it was a fucking shit show. It was a shit show. Like when we get there and there's all these kids and you can see all the staff, like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And I didn't see it, but my brother was like first and the waitress came up and he fucking pretty sure he handed her like a 50 or something like that. Just slid it to her and he's just like, hey,
smooth.
Sorry. Like, sorry what's about to happen. Because we have a shit show coming in. And it was a shit show. I'll never do another restaurant with my family ever again. Yeah. Because it was just kids and screaming and
7 orders of chicken tenders.
Luckily, we were outside, but there were still tables that were within 10 feet of us, and I felt horrible for those people. But, Then
I'm glad I wasn't there for that.
that was really, it was really irritating. And then, yeah, after the wedding, hung out for a little bit, and then a few days after that, well, actually like a week later, because I didn't invite any. Honestly, when I got there, my cell phone reception sucked pretty bad. So
Excuses.
I just put my phone down. You know, I hardly was on my phone. I just would sit it in the room and just walk away. But then like a week later, I had Vince and Thor out, and they came out for a night.
Nice.
And so that was cool.
Interesting.
Yeah. What do you?
Very cool.
Okay.
No, nothing. That's cool.
Yeah. And then there was some someone in my family who's not to be named hooked me up with a shitload of mushrooms, so that was cool. And there was definitely some nights of that, that was super fun. Got really drunk on the lake and did some mushrooms, and it was
Dear God. Oh my God.
It was very fun. It was very fun.
Nice.
Yeah. So there it is. We're married. And I'm sure if anybody's friends with me on Facebook, you saw some pictures. They were like preliminary pictures. We still haven't got the pictures yet. She's supposed to, yeah. Yep.
It looked lovely.
Yep. Yeah, thank you.
Should I continue?
Yeah, did I railroad you? Were you going somewhere with that, or okay? Yeah,
no,
go ahead.
I just don't know if you have any more, or I don't know, man. I got no concept.
No,
of time.
I mean, I'm sure I'll throw some other things that came in through the week, because I was there for 2 weeks. A lot of things happened, So I'm sure as the episode goes on, another story will probably pop up here or there. But
sure.
But as far as the wedding is concerned, yeah, it's over. But I was trying as hard as I could not to make it a big deal from the beginning. I don't know. In my mind, I was like, I just want it small, simple. Don't want to spend money,
I think when I was at the wedding I was at in 2018 in outside San Diego, I think this happens at a lot of weddings. The day of the wedding, and I'm not in the wedding or anything, but I'm kind of just hanging out with kind of the guys or whatever, or other people not in the wedding, and the women who were in the wedding, with the bride and everybody with the bride, are all freaking out and running around and panicking and oh my, it's a bunch of shit's going wrong, and I'm just who gives a shit? Something's wrong with the veil. Who cares? What's the big deal? But the morning of, all the women are just everything's fucking, the sky is falling. And I'm just feeling who cares if something's wrong with the dress? We're doing the wedding, aren't we? Where everybody's here. I don't know. I feel like that happens at a lot of weddings.
I totes agree with that. And then I can't I get it's a girl's day.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. But I just cannot justify spending $40,000 on a day.
I know.
It's
That's
just
insane. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's what are you talking about? You get nothing from it but some pictures. To me, it was just okay, I'll give you the ring. You know what I mean? That you can spend money on. We have it for the rest of our lives. That fucking makes sense to me. The dress doesn't make as much sense to me, but if you're gonna splurge on anything, you might as well splurge on a dress. And I was and then we just need a photographer. Those are the three things we need to spend money on. We don't need to spend money on food. We don't need to spend money on cake. We don't need to spend money on entertainment. Yeah, none of that bullshit.
Oh yeah, cake. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, my mom just made a cheesecake, and I was perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Dude, 40, 50, 60 grand on weddings. Fuck you. That's nuts.
It's so stupid, and honestly, it's the bride and groom enjoy it the least. You know what I mean? Which I guess is cool, but it's the coolest part about a wedding is being the person that didn't pay for any of it and gets to go enjoy it. You know what I mean? And just oh sweet, got a DJ here, good food, alcohol. Fuck yeah, it's a good day. But the bride and groom is oh, wow, how stressful is that? Except well, and it's funny is I've been to some weddings and I've seen the behind the scenes, husband wife thing, and they get all ecstatic about if it's a big wedding. Usually you will actually make quite a bit of money on the gifts. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
People will just give cash. So it'll be like they'll walk like on a $40,000 wedding with 100 people, they'll walk away with 10 grand, maybe, you know, a good wedding with like rich people, like wealthier people there.
On
They're
top
gonna make
of the
10
40?
grand. Like they will make like they'll just give money. Like people
Yeah,
just give
yeah,
them
yeah.
money in like a card or whatever. And so
Yeah.
they're all ecstatic. They're like, "Sweet, we just made 10 grand." It's like, "No, you didn't. You still lost $30,000."
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's just crazy, and it just seems like the morning of every wedding something goes wrong. Like, oh, I lost my voice, or that she has a migraine, or something happened to the dress. Someone's not showing up on. It's like, where's the the great grandma? Something happened to her back or something. It's like, and then everyone starts to freak out, and I don't know. But for me, I'm just like, who cares? I don't know.
Yeah. I can't justify it. I mean, I get it. I get a woman wanting it, but I also, yeah, it's like, aren't we trying to like make a life here, and we're just gonna throw $40,000 down the drain? That's a fucking brand new car, paid for, no payments.
Yeah.
Nice car, 40 grand, right? We could have a car, or you can have a party for a bunch of other people.
Right.
That blows my mind.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Yeah. If you're going to spend like 20 grand on a wedding or something, I don't know, you should spend 20 grand on yourselves and then don't spend anything on the guests.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people in North Idaho kind of have that mentality. I think it's more of a city thing to have spend all that money, because, I mean, a lot of the ones in North Idaho will be, you just show up on someone's property.
Yeah.
They bought a few kegs. You know what I mean? It's just like, fuck it.
Jesus.
You know, they got a pig in the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like they spent maybe $3 grand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On the whole fucking shebang. Have $500 for a band, $500 for a photographer. The uncle brought the pig. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of it is like in a big city or some kind of those style weddings is the venue. Because they do it
then
a
you gotta
year
buy
in
the venue.
advance.
Yeah.
A year in advance, and hit this huge deposit and all this bullshit. It's like, good dear God. But yeah, in Idaho, it's like, we're just going to do it in the backyard here.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Yeah.
So, I won't say any names here, but I know somebody that about a week ago brought a.
Is this about me?
No.
Okay.
Brought. This is in Sandpoint. Was getting ready to go camping, and had I think it's called a 300 Weatherby. I've shot it before. It's a very big gun, like the biggest gun I've ever fucking shot.
It's
ever.
a rifle?
Like, yes, and it's a fucking. You could kill 3 moose with it. I'm not even fucking joking. This thing is a cannon. When you shoot it with earplugs, dude, you can feel the shockwave from like 10, 15 feet away. It's like, whoa, that's a big fucking gun.
Did you shoot it into the lake?
No, I know someone that fucking had forgotten that there was a round in it and fucking shot it indoors and blew through their wall, through a garage, through a toolbox, through the other side of the garage, into the neighbor's house.
That's pretty stupid.
That's pretty stupid. Pretty fucking gnarly. Is that not fucking crazy?
Yeah, that's pretty dumb.
Yeah.
I had a buddy who shot
aside from all that, aside from all that, how fucking scary would that be? I've always thought about. I've never shot a gun indoors, but I've always like, dude, because I've asked a lot of military guys, or and I don't think I've spoken to one military guy that was actually like in combat. You know what I mean? They were like doing other shit, like fixing a plane or some crap like that. You know what I mean? Not like actually boots on the ground, like trying to kill someone. There's a million jobs. There's a million jobs out there. But my question has always been is like, what do you do for your ears?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you've gone shooting. You take your earplugs out and bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
You can't hear a fucking thing. Like
it's really
just,
bad.
Woo, and it's like, so in a war situation, you just are deaf. You know what I mean? Like, because then you shoot a few times and then you like walk into a house. You're not going to hear a footstep. Like,
well, they have the battery powered.
Is that what they use? Like,
well,
because
that's what I would think to use.
Well, that's what my buddy's like. No, you just deal with it. Like, you just deal with it. And he's
That
like,
sucks.
everyone's dealing with it. Yeah, and I was like, why wouldn't you have the earplugs that, like, are noise canceling? And then
Well, you got to
almost,
think,
like,
especially back in like World War II or something, they probably didn't have dog shit. They didn't have nothing.
So either way, all that aside from that is not just really any gun. Like if a home intruder was there and you pull a pistol out indoors, how fucking loud that would be. And I say that about every movie because it's always like bam, 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 and then they're like, "Hey, are you all right?" It's like, no, you'd be like, "Hey, hey, fuck, that was loud."
Yeah. I had a buddy who will remain nameless in Ponderay who shot a shotgun accidentally off inside his house in an apartment complex.
Woo! At least
Into
it was
the
a
wall.
shotgun.
And nothing happened.
It's probably the best gun you could shoot in a close situation.
Yeah, but like no cops came or nothing. Like no one did anything about it. It's like they got a freebie.
Yeah. Well, it probably, if you fired 2 shots, would have been when cops would have showed up.
Yeah, because
the
sometimes
first
I'll be
shot,
around here.
You'd be like, what the fuck? Because you wouldn't think gunshot. You'd be like, did a fucking transformer blow? Like, what the fuck was that? Like, and what are you going to do? Call the cops? Like, I heard a noise? Like,
isn't that weird?
What noise?
Like,
yeah.
I'll be around here though, and I'll just hear a boom, and I'll be like, what the fuck? I'm like, someone just got shot. But it's just one boom that I hear, and I'm like, huh. But it's like almost you could get away with killing somebody. You just boom, as long as you don't shoot them twice.
People do it all the time, you know?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Crazy world.
Yeah, but then, rewind just a little bit. I know I've already said this, but then imagine the most powerful gun you've ever seen going off when you don't expect it to go off. You know what I mean? Like, just, whoa, boom! You just, dude, I would shit my pants probably. You know, just, I'm a scared person. Like, things can fucking make me jump. A gun that loud going off uninspected. Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'd react. It would not be good.
Nice. What if you were sleeping and someone woke you up like that in the room and just fucking boom into the ceiling?
Oh my God, dude. I'd probably have a goddamn heart attack. I'd be dead.
Oh God. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know what to go into first. A lot of this stuff is really just the ramblings of a madman. And a lot of it's just small stuff. I mean, I'll just start the first stuff off. I read The Shining, so that has been read.
No way! He did it, dog.
Yeah. Okay. It's like in
report back.
I mean, I could go on for a long time. Like in Sandpoint, I asked my buddy John to do me a favor once, and I know how busy he is and how little time he has, and I'm like, I'm really fucking sorry for asking you to help with this. And he's like, dude, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. He's like, it's no problem. I'll get it done. I'm like, all right, thank you. It's like with all the stuff I've been having to do in the past 24 days, I read this, and I'm halfway through my next book because I'm just fucking Mr. Productive. But in all honesty, it was really fucking good.
I fucking really told you, dog.
It was like incredibly good. I mean, I don't know. It was really good. I really enjoyed it, and it
might be my favorite book, which might be my favorite story of all time. It's so well done. The way he builds on the craziness, like the crazy, just because even at the beginning when he's like killing the beehive, that just it's just stacking well. It's just da, da, da.
Well, like, dude,
the problem is with the movie is they don't have the time. You don't have the time to really fucking. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, the thing is, it made me like the movie more, and it made the movie made me like the book more, and the book made me like the movie more because I understand how the movie, the adaptation of the book into the movie, how genius it was. How genius because reading this book, I would have been like, you can't make this as a movie. But they did, and they did a really good job. I don't know, but like...
I think it's probably good that you saw the movie first, because it ruined the movie for me. Like, I was like... I was just picking the movie apart the whole time. Like, that's what you chose to do there? Like, no. That was such a good scene, or, like, why'd you cut all that out of there? Like... And I get it. You have to make like an artistic decision to cut time down. And I get it. You probably did it right. watching the movie.
Yeah.
Anyone that hasn't seen or read either, watch the movie first, then do the book. But
'Cause
definitely do the book. That's the most important part.
Reading the book, there's chapters I'm in, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, if I had to make this into a movie, I would cut this out immediately. This is like 3 hours in a doctor's office. Or like the running around with the hedge animals and stuff. I'm like, you would cut these things out instantly. Or all this backstory of stuff.
But
I'm
it's
like,
man,
cut
but it
these
builds.
out.
So I would, but you can't.
Yeah, I know.
As the story as a whole, the hedge animal thing. You know what I mean? That's such a good. You know,
But
when
you'd cut
they're
it
just
out.
like-
You'd be like, I don't want to deal with the CGI and all this bullshit. We're cutting
Totally.
this. Yeah, yeah,
but is in your imagination,
Yeah,
the way
yeah,
your
yeah,
imagination does the
Yeah.
whole hedge animal thing is awesome. And then even at the end, when they like come in at the end, like full-fledged hedge animal, like fucking
Yeah.
just it's like
Yeah, but that
oh,
would look
forgot
so
about the hedge
terrible.
animals.
That would look.
It would have.
absolutely
It would.
terrible.
It would look. Now the ending is the ending not better. Like, is it not just?
Oh,
better?
dude, the ending. So here's the thing. I'd always heard this about this. This made me love Stephen King and also really fucking hate him for some shit that he pulled in this. And I was just like, you motherfucker, while I was reading it. But I've always heard about him that he has really long beginning, really long middle, and then quick end. And when I got to the ending of this book, I'm like, geez, this is exactly what's happening. Because I'm like, it's 450 pages. The last 50 pages is like the action, is like where you get the payoff for the first 400 pages.
See, I liked the beginning, middle. Like, I loved
Yeah.
just the mundane things, like him down in the basement reading the books and the backstory of the hotel and the mob thing. It was like, I was digging that shit up, loving it.
Yeah, like, I know.
Or the party, towards the end when he goes like full fucking crazy, and it's like a huge long deal.
There was a really dark fucking scene in this book, though. One of the darkest scenes, like, I felt it, like, it affected me in my core how evil and dark it just made me feel when he was in, like, the maintenance shed and he's staring at, like, the part that he ripped out of that thing, and he's, like, staring at the hotel, and he's, like, he's at a crossroads, and then he just, like, launches the piece, and I'm like, you fucking motherfucker, dude. I'm like, oh my God. That was just the darkest shit. Where he's like, do I fix this thing and take the family, or do I sabotage this snowmobile or whatever it was? And he just throws the part into the fucking woods or something. And you're like, oh fuck, dude. But yeah, I loved. So another thing. But I liked the ending a lot. I really liked it. I think, and I also think that Danny is my favorite character. Because when you're inside his mind, when you're from his point of view in this, that was like my most enjoyable parts of it, because it was like I would feel like the kid's the smartest one in the room, and that's what I would feel like, and it was just so cool. And he'd be like he'd call the fire extinguisher like a cheap prick in his mind because he heard his dad call the hotel manager a cheap prick. I'm just like, that's just so funny. It's fucking hilarious. But so then I'm reading it and I'm like, oh yeah, because I was like a third into it, or like 25% of the way into it, and I'm like, when's the craziness gonna start? I'm like, what are we waiting for? And I had to wait for like the last fucking 50 pages, but then you get the payoff, and it's like the last 50 pages were like masterpiece. And also, another thing, okay, I just got 2 more things, but another thing is, in the book, the wife is blonde, and I think to cast the actress in the movie, Shelley Duvall, with black hair, I think it works way fucking better. Because when I read the book, I pictured her the whole time with black hair. I think with blonde hair, I think it is worse. I don't know, but you could have cast a blonde actress in the movie. You could have done that, and I think who he cast in that movie was perfect casting.
Yeah.
Something about that. As a blonde, it looks. I think it would be terrible. I don't know. I don't know if that even means anything. But then I'm reading it. I'm about halfway through, and I turn a page, and this fucking piece of paper falls into my lap. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? So I'm like looking at it, and it's a coupon on like brown paper, and it's a coupon for wine coolers. And I'm like, oh, and it's like someone's torn it out of a newspaper, not like cut it with scissors, but like torn it. And I'm like, please have a date on here. Please have a date. And I look, and it's like expires September 15th, 1987. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? I'm like, I feel like I'm in the basement, like going through scrapbooks of the hotel. It was tripping me out. And wine coolers, like wine coolers, that's crazy. We're trying to quit drinking. We're in this book. You know what I'm saying? And there's coupons for wine coolers.
Are you being serious right now?
Yeah, I bought this on eBay.
And does that come with the book?
Somebody had it in here as a bookmark. And I'm like, this coupon is now staying with this book forever. I wouldn't throw it away like some asshole. It's staying in here because it creeped me the fuck out that happened. I felt like I was in the basement going through things, or it was the book saying you should go drink some fucking wine coolers or something. And to do this after quitting nicotine sucked, because if I had a vape to hit on while I was reading that book, it would have made it way better. I needed tobacco. I needed it to read that fucking book.
I'm so glad you did it. I never thought you'd do it. And I told you, man. I told you. And I didn't realize. I'm so glad I just did it out of just randomness that I picked that book. I didn't think Stephen King would be that good. And Stephen King is...
It hasn't made me want to read any more Stephen King.
What?
No.
Oh, That's absolutely did me.
That's it for me.
He's like one of my I love his rhythm. His rhythm is fucking perfect. It doesn't matter what the story is. If it's 10 pages in and you haven't got a good rhythm going, I can't do it. I can't. And I liked it just right off the bat. I liked the way I think it's interesting, the words he chooses, and his sentence structure is just interesting. And he's really good at it. And I don't know. A while ago when I was heading to Denver, I was talking to a buddy of mine about when I started The Stand, and excellent. I love it. And my buddy's the one kid I know that reads more than anybody ever. He's like, dude. Because I was like, do you like Stephen King? He's like, of course. He's like, he's one of the best authors on the planet.
He's probably the last great American
writer. There's
a
reason that he sold 1 billion. Literally written 1 billion books is because he's a monster. He's a powerhouse.
Yeah. And he has
so many problems as a human being. You know what I mean? It's like it's good. Yeah. It's good that he's such an alcoholic because you know what I mean? It's like he has something to write about. I love him. I can't believe you could read that book and say that you wouldn't want to read another Stephen King book. Because if I find a book that like does what that book did to me, it's like I'm hooked. Like I'm hooked on that author. That's why I've been stuck on the same fucking 5 authors my entire life.
Yeah.
You know, once. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he's probably the last great American novelist, maybe. Oh Jesus Christ. Oh, and he's had a oddly large amount of his books turned into movies. There's a shitload of movies that are Stephen King books.
Stephen goddamn King. When you're so good, they get on a roll. It's like Michael Crichton. It's like once you can prove you can do it, then you're in the rhythm.
And there's a line.
At least half of Crichton books into him.
Yeah,
and all of them are that way. Grisham, they've turned a bunch of Grishams. I think once you're in, you're in.
And there's a line in here I was gonna underline. I probably can't find it, but it was in the beginning. And it was like talking about Danny's broken arm, and it said like bones don't align this way in normal households or something like that. And I looked up and I was like, that was fucking brilliant. That was a brilliant sentence. I just butchered it, but it was something like bones don't align this way in in like healthy homes or something like that. And I'm like, whoa.
That's like what I'm saying about like the alcoholism kind of is you could just feel like he says things where it's, that came from a fucking person who's like high, you know what I mean? Who's like high, but he's not a dumb guy. So his like high thoughts are brilliant. You know what I mean? They're not just like, whoa, man, like you ever think about this? He's just like, it's like a fucking, because a sober person couldn't think of some of the sentences he says. It's like, damn, bro, like that's fucking out there, but it makes sense. I love it.
And when the guy was showing him the boiler, and he's like, you got to watch this. If she goes, she'll go 81, 82, 83. She creeps. Like, she creeps. And then he kept, as he was walking around the hotel for the rest of the book, he's just like, she creeps. Every now and again, he'd think about, like, she creeps. And then I keep thinking about that. When I'm, like, looking at gauges and stuff throughout the day, I'm just like, dude, she creeps. She creeps. You got to watch it. It's crazy. I really wish I could have. Someday I'm going to read this book again, and I'm going to be fucking chain smoking the whole time. Because I was like, God, I could use a fucking cigarette or a vape or something. This goddamn straw is not doing it.
No, dude, I can't remember what I was doing. I know I was driving. I think it was just work is what I was doing. But it was awesome. It was so awesome to just be driving, smoking cigarettes, just so into... Oh, that was when I was up at the Sandy job. So I was like driving on back roads, like windy back wooden roads, and it was just the best, dude. Just especially at the beginning when the whole car crash thing, like the kid in the side. I was just on these. Oh man, I'm in it. I'm fucking in this book. It's so good.
But I'm like, as soon as I finish this book, I'm rewatching the movie, and then the rewatch that I did was like so enjoyable. I was like smiling and like waiting for the next scene. I was like, we got to meet Dick Halloran. Like, I'm so excited. Like, go to the next scene, and it was like a kid in a candy store. I was like, it was the best rewatch.
Yeah, I don't have love for the movie like you do. I mean, it's a good movie, but the book is just knocking it out of the fucking park.
Well, and I enjoyed right off the bat kind of the Dick Halloran and Danny sitting in the car and really explaining what the fuck was going on between them. I was like, that was much more clear than a real quick scene, a real quick fucking 20-second scene in the movie. They actually have a full conversation sitting in the car about the hotel, about what's going on in their heads and all this shit. I'm like, that was nice to have that.
Yeah, the movie doesn't start until you're like a fucking 100 pages into the book. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it gives you they set the stage for him going crazy better. You know what I mean? Like with him being a professor and just life falling apart and all that stuff. It really sets the stage for someone going crazy. Because in the movie, it's just a guy, and then, bam, crazy, and it's like, well, what?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and in the book, it shows you how this is really like the last hope for this family. Like this family is actually like on the edge of like succeeding as a family, and they have like nothing else really. This is like the last hope that maybe we can all fucking find some sort of success or whatever. They're like, I don't know, they're really like down in the dumps.
I'm so happy. You just made my night that you read that. I didn't think it was ever coming. I thought you were going to have your nose up in the air.
Well, now I'm reading Band of Brothers, which was a HBO show about World War II, but is based on a book. So I'm reading Band of Brothers, and then I'm going to read this book called On the Road by Jack Kerouac. Have you ever read that book?
I know who Jack Kerouac is, but no.
It's a pretty legendary book. It's like an American classic. Mm-hmm. And for a lot of people, it's like everybody reads this book as like a young adult. And like that's how it is. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to read
It's like
that.
To Kill a Mockingbird or Animal Farm or something like that.
But it's about his experience of like hitchhiking across the United States. And it's tiny. It's tiny, too. Band of Brothers is shorter than this, and On the Road is shorter than this. Fucking The Shining was the longest of the three books.
It's a long book. Long book.
It was good.
Boom. So something happened. I wrote this down 2 weeks ago, and it blew my mind, but now I think it's common knowledge. I think at the time, it wasn't common knowledge for society, American,
Abortion,
social,
getting illegal.
No. I kept hearing this fucking song on the radio, and then, I just heard the song on the radio a bunch of times, and then I still haven't watched Stranger Things, but it came up. It came up automatically, we'd let Netflix play the next thing or whatever, and just Stranger Things started, and so I was kind of like seeing it in the background, and then that song came on, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, and it all kind of clicked to me. I was like, oh, they picked this song and then it blew up once it was in Stranger Things. And it was that Kate Bush song, which I'm sure you know what I'm talking about now. But I thought...
Yes, Grandpa.
I thought 2 weeks ago you had heard that song before Stranger Things.
No, I had not. No, I had not. But I knew 2 weeks ago what it was from.
Oh, see, I just been hearing on the radio because it kind of sounds like it could be a new song. You know what I mean? It's kind of alternative-y, you know, because a lot of alternative is going like back to kind of somewhat 80s vibes. You know, make a deal with gold. It sounds like Florence and the Machine or something like that. Like that kind of vibe.
So it's not from Stranger Things Season 1. It's only from Stranger Things Season 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I say something weird there?
No, but you said you'd never watched Stranger Things, but then it started automatically playing and you heard the song. Did it start automatically playing season 4?
No, the new season.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen the new season. I've seen all the other 3. I just haven't watched the new one.
Okay.
I just have this weird feeling like they're like it's gonna get butchered, so I just haven't watched it yet. But anyways, that blew me away, and I'd had that written down as a topic. But then the other day I saw something, and it just kind of made me giggle because I've had this. Because like then people are like, I talked to my guitar player and called him up. I don't know. 2 weeks ago? Yeah, I think I was still in Oregon. And I was like, have you heard that song playing on the radio? And I was like, I'll make a do. And I didn't even know what the name of it. So I like start singing it to him. He's like, yeah, of course. He's like, he's like, that was Rachel's favorite song in high school. He's like, I hate that fucking song. And I was like, oh, you've heard it? He's like, yes, everyone's heard that song. And I'm like, no, they haven't. Like, I had never heard that song. He's like, well, everyone over the age of 45 has heard that fucking song before. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I saw a post on Facebook or something like that. And it hit me so hard because I've done it a bunch to where there's like a snobbiness about when a new generation, like, do you remember Post Malone did that song with Ozzy and everyone's like, then a bunch of people online are like, oh, it's good of Post Malone to like, you know, show, you know, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, Ozzy, fucking Ozzy. What are you talking about? Or Paul McCartney did something too. And they're like, you know, it's good for Post Malone to, you know, shed light on these new artists or whatever. Yeah. And then, then like the 30, 40, 50-year-old crowd chips in and they're like, no, like you're retarded. It's fucking Paul McCartney. It's Ozzy Osbourne. Like, you stupid sons of bitches. But man, I should have saved like a screenshot of it because I'm going to butcher the post. But essentially what they're saying in this post is it's like group one, you know, people bitching at millennials for not knowing songs. And then it's like, but group 1, 2, if it wasn't for Tony Hawk Pro Skater, would have never have heard any of those fucking bands. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, that's so true. Like when I was growing up and Tony Hawk Pro Skater came on, just like, what the fuck? You know, like what is all this music that had already been out for a long time? And there was 2 albums for me. It was Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and everyone always says Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, but Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 was like so mind blowing to me. And then it was Dave Mirra Pro BMX because that was the first time I ever heard Sublime. That was fucking 10 years after he died. You know what I mean? That I fucking first discovered Sublime and just like, whoa, you know, have you heard this band Sublime? They're fucking awesome, you know?
Oh, God, yeah.
So it had to make me check myself. Like, we've all been in that boat before. You know, there isn't a single person that hasn't discovered a song that's been out for so long. And you're just like, this song kicks, man. This song's so good.
Well, you have gotten mad at people for not knowing about Eric Clapton or something.
Exactly. So that's what I'm getting at, is I checked myself a little bit, and the post made so much sense to me. I was like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I can't imagine someone coming up to me and being like, they're just getting into, like, Biggie or something. I'd be like, just get away from me. Like, come back in 10 years and we'll have a conversation or something. Like, I can't imagine. But I know for a fact I was such an annoying little fucking teenager because I was doing that constantly with bands that were 20, 30, 10 years, you know, before me.
Yeah, like when you first heard like Run DMC or something like that. And you're like, man, you ever heard of Run DMC? It's like, shut the fuck up, you little kid. Like,
I know. And you just feel like you have to talk about it. And it's like, oh, God, I can't imagine.
So you should take away from this is you just got to, some people aren't exposed to things. You can't hate them for not being exposed to something.
I know. It's tough. It's a struggle, but you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that song's kind of annoying. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know TikTok. I don't know why you're saying you're hearing things on the radio. You got like an old AM/FM radio in your fucking garage or something. But I've heard it on TikTok. I heard it on TikTok about 1 billion times in the first day, and I was like, this song is annoying now because it's in like every TikTok video.
Yeah. No, I listened to quite a bit of radio.
Yeah.
It's just easy to get in the car and the radio's going.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, you don't have to think about it.
Boom.
Okay, speaking of music, I was tripping out the other day, dude. I was tripping out. The sky was tripping me out. It's so blue and so big. And when there's like no clouds in it, I feel like I'm standing out there and I feel like I'm in like a glass dome, like a blue dome. And I'm like, this is nuts, dude. And I'm just staring up at the sky. And like, I'm like, this is so trippy that like this is the sky. And I'm just looking up into it. And I'm like, if we like had a door in our house we opened and it was like outer space was right there, we would be like freaking out. But I'm like, it's like right there. And I'm like, I have like my hand up and I'm looking at the sky and I'm like, outer space is like right there. It's like right fucking there. Like that, if you go that direction, you'll be in like outer space. I'm like, and I'm standing there for like 5 minutes looking around. I'm like, it's just trippy. I'm like, we're walking around down here like, hey, how's it going? What's up, everybody? But it's like, if you look up every once in a while, it's just like crazy out there. It's like, it was tripping me the fuck out. It's like, it's just crazy that the sky is like right there. I'm sorry. It's crazy. And contrary to what probably a lot of people would think, I have no fear of death. I just don't fear dying. I think, I don't see why. I don't see really how it's a fear. And this may be crazy to say, but let's just go full crazy. Like, the day I kind of stopped being like, believing in like Christianity was the day I no longer had a fear of death. And it's like, I don't fear death. But it's just crazy how the sky's right there. And I was really, like, that first week or whatever, a few weeks ago, I was really into the song Into the Mystic by Van Morrison. And if you play that song at fucking high volume, you will no longer have a fear of death. And that's one of the
crazy person.
That's one song. That's one song that I want played at my funeral. Out of 3. 1 out of 3.
What, so, Van Morrison what?
Into the Mystic.
Into the Mystic. I'm sure I know it.
It's been covered by many people.
I love Van Morrison.
It's just crazy if you just look at... I think, I don't know, I feel like the sky out here is bigger than most places. And I'm just like, it's just crazy. And I was just like, you can get lost in that fucking thing. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty incredible.
I'd like to put this fear of death thing to the test because I
also don't see how people like kids can be like, I'm bored, I'm bored. It's like, dude, go outside and look up. Like, how can you be bored? It's fucking nuts, dude. But yeah, I don't fear death. I feel like
that's the you gotta stop saying that, dog.
Why?
Everyone's scared of death, and at some form, like not like the idea of dying one day like scares the shit out of you. Maybe not, but. There isn't a single thing on the planet that doesn't automatically override. Your brain will override self-preservation, stay alive.
Right, it's right. Yeah, that's true.
So saying this broad thing, like I'm not afraid of death, yeah, you are. Because when death comes a knocking, you'll be fucking scared out of your gourd. And
no,
you won't be.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
You are so high, dude.
You're right. You're right that it's self-preservation.
The second someone legitimately like points a gun at your face, your whole demeanor is gonna change, and I don't know for a fact, but I know because every dog, cat, fucking squirrel, you put them like on the edge of death, and they will do anything to not die.
Oh yeah, incredible things. But look. You don't think that there's people that are like in that moment, they know it's coming and they just accept it?
I think you can scare yourself so much that you'll like go into a trance.
Dude, I think there's nothing to fear about it.
Like I think like jumping off a building, I think the first second is so terrifying that you like almost have a stroke. You know what I mean? Like it would be almost euphoric. I think. I don't know. I would assume you jump. You're so terrified, and there's zero turning back. You know there's zero turning back. You know 100% you are going to die.
Yes,
there's no
that would be
chance in hell.
terrifying. Yes, I don't want to die. That would be scary. I'm thinking more of like an old person or like an old dog who just closes their eyes and is just like everything's okay.
But you want to live. Or else you wouldn't. I hate the statement. I don't like the statement. That's what someone says with like a no affliction shirt or what the fuck ever. It's just like shut the fuck up, bro. Like I don't like this.
I hate this. I think it's a worse statement. It's a worse statement to say I'm scared of death. I'm scared of what happens. It's like, why would you be scared? You know how many billions of people have crossed that bridge? There's nothing to be scared of.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
It's a better life than to walk around with the fear of the inevitable. That's a terrible life. To not fear the inevitable is a better life.
Yeah, but
people tell me don't be afraid of weather or tornadoes.
Ignorant. That's just being ignorant of something. That doesn't mean you don't have it. That's just denying the thought of just not thinking about it. And whatever, I'm not saying it's good or bad not to think about it. I'm just saying the statement you don't fear death. It's too broad of a statement, and it's like, oh, I don't think about death. It's like, okay, or accepting that one day you're gonna die.
Yeah,
and honestly, I don't think anyone does. I really don't. I think you just tell themselves something. It's like you just tell yourself, and you're comfortable with telling yourself something. But the day that shit gets real, the day that because you talk to any old person that goes through a serious, like, hospitalization, there's a fucking giant wake-up call. Because I've heard multiple old people say, enjoy your health. Like, you have no idea what it's like to actually lose your health. Because the realization that death is coming actually hits. Because all those same people would have lived the same way. And then the day that they're like, I actually might die today. When that realization hits, you're like, fuck. Like, oh my God, today might be the day that I actually die. And when we can't comprehend it. And you're living in ignorance. But the second you start to comprehend it, I don't believe anybody. I don't believe some Buddhist bullshit monk person. Even if he said it, I'd be like, shut the fuck up, dude. Shut up. No. It is in our DNA. It is in our DNA. It has nothing to do with God. Has nothing to do with anything. The day that shit comes a knocking,
I don't think so. I disagree.
I disagree.
I disagree. People tell me don't fear tornadoes or storms because you can't control it. So why would you fear something like death that you can't control?
The second the roof gets ripped off your fucking house, though, that fear is there. And you're just like,
yeah, that's terrible.
So, but saying the blanket thing, well, you're not afraid of it. You're rationalizing the chances and the predictability of it happening, and you're just like, well,
that's 100%.
That's being ignorant to something. That's not facing that thing. That's just being ignorant of that thing. It's like you owe a bill at the end of the month, and you know you owe the bill at the end of the month, and it's like, I don't have the money to pay it. And it's like you have two options: either sit and stress about it, or just forget about it. But the day that it actually is due and you get kicked out of your house is the day you're like, fuck, like blah, blah, blah. But it's like, well, if there was no way you could come up with the money, like it just isn't going to happen, then it's like, well, then I might as well not think about it. Then the 29 days up to that bill, you're like, oh, I don't give a fuck. But then the day they're like, get your shit out on the side of the road, you're like, fuck, like, God damn it, like, no, this sucks balls. Like, I thought I didn't care. Now I care. Like, now it's here. I fucking care. You're ignorant to it. It's the same thing with death. Those 29 days, you're like, fuck it, dude. I've accepted it. One day I'm going to die. One day I'm going to get kicked out of here. But it ain't happening today, so don't think about it. We're all good. But the fucking day landlord comes a knocking and is like, eviction notice, get the fuck out. You're like, the realization hits you. Now put it on something that actually matters, your life, which is so much bigger. The stress there is going to be so much bigger than not paying your rent and getting kicked out. It's going to be you won't live anymore. And every animal on the planet will not want to, they don't want to accept that. I think the only people that could legitimately say I will embrace death is when you're in an immense amount of pain and you just want it to stop, or which would be the same as being so old that you've just accepted death. You're life isn't good anymore. I'm just useless and there's no real joy coming out of this. But other than those two things, those two people, they're looking death in the face. Like, death is right there looking them in the face. That's totally different than someone who's completely healthy that to just say this broad statement, you're not afraid of death. That's ridiculous because death isn't even looking you in the eye at all. Like, it's not even there. So just saying that's ridiculous. It's like, oh, well, I'm not afraid of getting kicked out of my house. It's like, well, yeah, of course you're not. You got fucking 29 days to go. Like, of course you're not right now.
Yeah, I think you're wrong completely.
I think you're wrong completely.
I think when that 29th day hits and it's time to leave the house, there's some people that'll just throw the backpack over their shoulder and meander down the street happily, whistling. You're seeing it as a negative.
I accept we're going to die.
Like, and there's nothing to fear.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I'm not saying self-preservation isn't necessary, because it is.
I disagree. I disagree with your whole statement there.
I think it's weird that everyone tells me not to fear things or don't fear things I can't control, and you're telling me to fear something I can't control.
No, I'm not saying to fear it. I'm saying saying that I'm not scared of death is just a bullshit thing to say. That's not an honest thing to say.
Yeah, I find it comforting.
Okay, it's comforting, but it's on the ignorant side of things. It's not like you're not saying something profound. Like, you're not saying anything profound. You're saying something ignorant. Like, which is fine. Choosing ignorance in life is fine. It's just
ignorant because it's just ignorant because you don't have any knowledge of what's going to happen.
Because you don't even know what you're talking about. And I'm not saying I do either. And I would say the person doing the opposite, like freaking out about it, I'm not saying, like, that's dumber to me. Way dumber.
That's what I said. Yeah.
Okay, that is dumber. But saying this broad statement, like, I'm not scared of death, is stupid. Because one day you're
I'm not scared of what happens after death. I'm not scared of what happens after it.
I disagree. I think you're just choosing ignorance and you're masking it with words, which is fine. I'm not saying you're wrong for doing that. I'm just saying at least someone needs to check you a little bit and be like, yeah, but the day that you have a fucking heart attack, you're going to be singing a totally different story. You're going to be like, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And you will 100% say that at some time in your life. You will have the fear look you over in the face, and you're going to say, I don't want to die. Most people are going to have that moment in time to where I don't want to die. And you're going to feel it. It's going to be the most deep feeling you've ever had in your soul because it's life and death. And you'll realize.
I don't know. If that happens, I'll say, God, that guy 20, 30 years ago that was telling me that was right. But I don't know. I don't see that happening. I'm pretty good at making my peace with things. You know? I don't know. I think you need to do more mushrooms.
I think you need to do some mushrooms, dog, and see what's knocking on the other side of the darkness, and you'll come out and be like, yeah, never mind. That was a stupid thing to say.
Do more mushrooms and look at more NASA deep space images.
Oh, yeah. Is that where we started with this whole thing?
No, it's just me listening to Van Morrison and staring up at the blue sky. It's very comforting.
I do love some Van Morrison, man. Van Morrison is pretty damn good.
Ah, it's such a good fucking song. Let me see here. God. Okay. What else you got?
I'm out of things, dog.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I have some really random fucking things. Okay. I'll just try this. Someone on TikTok was like, imagine if there was a phone in your house bolted to the wall and it would ring sometimes and you don't know who's on the other end of the phone. And they were like, isn't that insane? And I'm like, that's fucking really crazy to think about that. And they're like, that's how it used to be. I'm like, oh yeah. But if there was a phone in my house now on the wall and it would just randomly ring and you'd have to be like, hello? And like not know who it was there, like fuck that. I'd be like, just let it ring. I don't know. That's crazy. And then, so I was thinking about that, and then I'm like, you know what I miss is that when people had iPods, and just forgive me, just let me go back into the 2000s for a second. I know I do it a lot. Let me just do it again. It's just, I don't know. I'm not gonna dwell on it too long. People had iPods, and what I would go is I'd be like, let me see your iPod. And I'd take it from them, and I'd scroll through their artists, and I'd be judging them, like, who am I dealing with here? Like, what kind of girl is this? What kind of guy is this? And by looking at their music artists and being like, and, like, you know, like, getting the sense of who they are based on who's in their iPod, we don't have that anymore. And I'm like, fuck, I wish we still had that, where I could just be to a coworker or a buddy or something and be like, let me see your iPod and fucking go through your artists in there and see what you're dealing with. Because now you could be like... You could be like, let me see your Spotify.
Yeah, do that with people's playlists. Someone has a playlist on, you listen to it for 10 minutes, and you're like, okay, I get what you're about. And I never agree with anybody. And no one ever agrees with me. No one likes my playlist, and I don't like anybody else's playlist. I'm like,
I'd like to just see everybody's Spotify's.
It's fucking perfect. It's the best playlist ever, and don't fuck with it.
Mine's pretty perfect.
Every time someone comes over and they're just like, oh, let me get on YouTube real quick. I'm like, just let it play, dog. Let it play. It's already happening. We have Chris Isaac coming up next. Then we're gonna jump to some Ozzy. Just let it happen, dog. Let it happen.
I just like to see more people's Spotify's or something, and really, I feel like I don't know anybody. But the problem with that is, be like, let me see your Spotify. Now they have to hand their whole phone over to you. So then you're like doing this, and you
can't you. I don't use Spotify, but can't you just look up someone's profile and look at what they're listening to?
I think you can make your profile public or hidden, but yeah, you can do that.
So there you go. Then just ask people to see their profile, see what they're listening to.
I'm gonna start doing it because I feel like there's some snakes in my midst, and I've really got to see what people are up to.
I'm so pro Pandora though. I'll never switch, dog. I'll never make the switch.
Jesus. Oh, and then on top of that, I was thinking, did you ever make like a burned CD for a girl, and like put way too much thought into it? Because that was my fucking bread and butter.
Everyone did that, and dude, I'll never forget. I had one girl do it for me, dude, and it was the most powerful. It was the most powerful album. Yeah. No, it was, dude. I remember showing Luke Sater the album, and he's like, I need to borrow this album. It was so good. It introduced me to so many good... Yeah. I don't know. I loved those days, dude. Mixtapes to girls and back and forth.
Yeah, but I'd be sitting there,
dog.
Like on iTunes, and I'd be like, okay, I don't know if this song should be the first song. Maybe I'll put this down to like 4 or 5, because I don't want to open like too strong with that. But like this song is better in the middle, and the last song, maybe I'll just throw in like make it a fun one or something, and like put in way too much thought into the whole fucking track selection and ordering. Is just, but I was like,
those were the good days, dog. That takes me back. That was back. Dude, relationships used to be. I feel bad for like high school kids now. Like they're missing out on like. It was more like, there's a better word than romantic. It was like bigger. Relationships were like bigger because there was so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like this phone culture has made it to where you can hide behind something, and you used to have to like get the balls to go ask about it. Even once you asked them out, it was like you had to get the balls to like go do something and go to someone's house. You had to like call their fucking parents' phone. You had to do shit like that. It was like you had to go knock on the door and meet the parents. You know what I mean? And go. It was just everything. And it was fun, but all those like crazy, scary moments of being a kid and like your first relationships were the best. I would give anything to go back to those, the feelings, like the emotions that were involved in that. And
it's just so crazy.
These people are fucked, dude. Yeah. Like mentally, what's happening? They're fucked. We're creating robots.
I think what you're trying to say is back then the majority of the relationship was not digital. And now the majority of like the interaction might either it's like 50-50 or it's the majority is through a phone, which is crazy.
Well, and then there's a lot of different aspects, but then the other thing is just the access to pornography. You know what I mean? Like when we were 8th grade, finding a Playboy was like, bro, you just be like, holy shit, dude. And now it's like 8th graders are watching fucking anal fisting. You know what I mean? It's I can't even wrap my head around what happens in a high schooler's like sexual experience. I bet it is fucking banana. And I honestly feel it's not good. You know what I mean? Like that would be terrible if I put myself back in that and I thought that I had to do these things. You know, you're like fucking 16 and like, well, I need to anal fist. You know what I mean? It's like, terrifying that would be because it's like all I was giving a shit about is like kissing someone. You know what I mean? I just gotta kiss him right.
Yeah, there's still got to be that. It's still not. You're still not walking in there like you're fucking Andrew Tate.
No, I don't know. I've had a long conversation with a kid I game with, and he's 23,
and he's 14.
No, he's 23.
Okay.
And just but he grew up in the internet. You know, he grew up when. You know, when he doesn't the original iPod was when he was like fucking 8 years old. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So he grew up like the internet was full. Freshman year in high school, Pornhub was a fucking thing, dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everyone had it.
Yeah.
And he talks about, that's how it is. Like exactly what we're saying is how it is. Like everyone is watching graphic porn at a very young age. Young age.
Yeah, when you said you know what it's like in a high schooler right now with the access to pornography and stuff, that it gave me chills. And what it must be like, you know, I don't know. That's just crazy.
Dude, and like imagine
it sounds really dark. You made it sound really dark.
It is dark. I mean, I bet there's a lot of cool things that happen, but it's sad because think about being a fucking 15, 16-year-old girl and you watch porn. It's like, well, this is what I have to do. So they're like, just like that's, and it's not even like romantic. It's just violent sex. It's which nothing against violent sex, but it's like you shouldn't start there. And like all those kinks, every kink I have, I can like tie it.
Here we go.
Kind of. Well, no, but you can like tie it to like things that happened. I remember vividly when I was, young, 6, 7, probably 7 years old. I remember watching this movie. Like with my brothers and like whatever, they had this R-rated movie, and I wasn't allowed to watch R-rated movies, but I'll never forget. It was back when your memories are scattered like 6 months at a time. You know what I mean, like that young, and fucking. I remember watching this movie in the beginning of the movie, and we were Mormon, so usually it's like if anything happened in a movie, I'd have to like close my eyes and shit. But I was just with my brothers and sisters, so they like let me watch it, and. It's like this sex scene at the beginning, and she ties the dude all up. And, like, I didn't even, like, know what sex was. But I saw that, and it was, like, arousing. It was like, whoa. Just like, what the fuck? And she, like, ties this dude up, and he's, like, getting all tied up on this bed. And it was like, dude, like, that transferred 100% into my feel. I can, like, look back when tying up shit happens. It's like, all that shit happened when I was 7 years old. You know what I mean?
What movie
that
was
wiring. It? I don't know. I explained it to a buddy of mine. I could get the answer for you because a few years ago I was explaining this story to a buddy of mine, and he's like, "Oh, you're talking about this movie."
Did she then kill him?
I don't remember that, but I just remember tying him up, and it was very sexual. I want to say it was like a military style movie. Like he was in the military and he's like on leave or something. Like I don't remember, but I just remember the scene, and it was like this very sexualized scene, and then like I can 100% like when it comes to sex. Whenever it comes into bondage type stuff, it's just like I feel the wiring click in my brain, and it takes me right back to being 7 years old and watching that happen. And it was like, so now just plug that into what kids are experiencing now.
Because you're saying that was actually kind of tame compared to what they're experiencing now.
Yeah, crazy tame. You know, it was just getting tied up, and I didn't even like, whoa, and it was like it was etching my brain out. You know what I mean? It was like, this for the rest of your life, you're going to always see this. You know what I mean? And
now they're just watching 8 black dudes gangbang.
Yeah, exactly. And so some girl is like, this is what girls do. And boys are like, this is what boys do. When it's not that way. That, you know, to me, it's like that shit comes late, you know. You shouldn't, it should be missionary sex when you're a kid.
That's what I still do. Yeah. And now abortion's legal. So now they're going to be running around with no fucking condoms doing all this craziness.
Boom.
Yeah, that's nuts. Oh, so this is really crazyville. So Eminem's daughter started a podcast.
Okay.
Hailie. You know Hailie?
Oh, yeah.
So it's called Just a Little Shady. And just that title really has been just grinding my fucking brain for the last 48 hours because I just can't figure out if it's good or if it's bad. And I kind of hate the title. Oh,
it's catchy. It's very catchy because it works on different levels. And
I know. It's the level, and the levels were explained to me today, which I didn't need them explained to me. I understand the title, but it's like, doesn't it seem kind of like a shitty Chinese restaurant or like the lumbar yard, like some mattress store?
Yeah. Or like how every pho place is like fucking good. Yeah.
But at the same time, I understand the genius. I understand all the levels. It's just kind of crazy, and I don't know. It's like I watched her first episode was yesterday. It was 25 minutes long. I watched the whole thing, and it was just panic attack city for Brad. I'm just like, I can't handle it, and I'm like, but it's admirable, and the problem is, like, I'm sorry, I'm a fan of Eminem, and I have been for a long time. I'm sorry, like, that's just the way it is. So I consider her like royalty. She's like royalty in my opinion, in this country. I think she's important. And to do a podcast is wild because you could just do like TikTok dances or OnlyFans. So to do something where you have to sit and talk for a long time is something that girls on OnlyFans or TikTok aren't capable of doing that. They're in their own lane. So to get into that lane is ballsy and admirable. But it was just crazy. I'm like, it's just crazy. It's because I still kind of like that person should always be like a little girl to me. You know, I don't know. And there were parts in the podcast where she was like lost and like wasn't and like just spiraling in kind of conversation. And I was like, whoa. But it's like, it's your first episode. Like your first episode's going to suck no matter who you are. And also her crazy Midwestern accent was so strong. And then after I noticed it like halfway through, it was then all that I could focus on was the crazy Midwestern accent. Like the movie Fargo. And I'm
so she doesn't live in LA?
I think she lives in Detroit.
That's weird. I thought for sure they were LA people.
No, he still lives in Detroit.
Didn't know that. You said something that kind of bugged me there at the beginning. You apologized 3
about
times.
Death?
No, you apologized 3 times about like liking Eminem, and that really bugged me.
Okay.
No, why are you saying sorry? Eminem, like, don't apologize for liking Eminem. Eminem's a god. I mean, I'll go one step further. He's the best fucking rapper that's ever lived. I fucking love Eminem.
I know. It's just, and this is someone who, if you're a fan of him, you've heard about for the last 20 years. You've heard about this little girl. And
no,
now
I get everything of that. I just had to backtrack and say you're crazy for apologizing for that. But I agree 100%. That is nutty. And yeah, she's stayed out of the limelight so much.
Yeah.
And once in a while, a picture comes up and it's like, what the fuck? Like, she is so old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, yeah, I mean, you say Hailie, Eminem, I fucking picture her, hello, dada,
Yeah.
It's okay, hey, we're going to the beach. Oh, no, don't touch, that's what I picture, like literally a little baby and just.
It's weird. It's really weird. It's just a weird thing for me to watch. And I don't know, at first I was like, how long, as I started it, I was like, how long is this? I'm like, 25 minutes. I'm like, that's weak. But then after it, and I was like, after it was over, I was like, you know what? That was fucking perfect. And as it was going on, I was like, I wish I could have produced this. Like, I wish I could have produced this show for her and, like, told her, like, produce the whole thing. This is what we're going to do. These are the topics we're going to have of you guys talking. But then after it was over.
Is she doing it with someone, or is it
another girl. Another girl. So I'm going to keep listening.
Who's the other girl? Just some random?
Just some longtime friend since second grade. But I'm going to keep listening. So Brad's going to keep listening to a podcast done by two women. And I actually thought it was done well. It was good. It's also a giant panic attack, including just the title for me. I still haven't got past that. But it was like also another thing that was a little annoying is like before the first episode even came out, she made an Instagram page for the show and they had 50,000 followers before the first episode came out. It's like, fuck. This is not going to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's just how it is. But
that's just how it is.
It's interesting. Interesting shit.
It's interesting when the kids actually produce something good. I was pretty blown away by Will Smith's daughter. I was like, actually, this is better than I would think it would be.
The music?
Like that one. Yeah. Like I was like, maybe she probably has the best producers on the face of the planet helping her.
Right.
Right. But it wasn't bad. Like it was like that one song, whatever. I caught a vibe, yeah, baby, are we going for a ride? Yeah, I just want to look into your eyes. Yeah. It's like it's actually pretty good. And then I put it on Pandora and I was like, let's hear what else she has to do. And it went down a total lane I did not think it was gonna go down. She sounds like it was like a Paramore type sound she had, like very
Weird.
rock, punky type thing. And I was like, actually, it's pretty good music. Which is, I don't know, when a kid can do something of a famous person, because, they've just had everything handed to them.
Yeah. And it's like, say, if this Hailie wanted to make like a pop song, she could make a hit pop song because you could just throw $10 million at the one song and make a hit song. Mm-hmm. But why? But that'd be stupid to do. So don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree.
I mean, listen to it if you're intrigued.
I'm gonna probably listen to it. Yeah.
Just two girls talking.
I mean, do they address that it's her father? Yeah, like they address what people want to hear. Like
not as much as I would, not as much as I would have liked, but it's touched on briefly, I guess. Yeah. It's touched on briefly as in, like, when we were kids and we used to play on the tour bus and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, okay. Just the crazy Midwestern accent,
if they keep doing it, I'm sure at some point she'll, like, say something that's pretty deep, of, like, behind-the-scenes shit.
Oh, my God, yeah. And just the crazy, I'm not a fan of, like, the Midwestern accent, but she's got a fucking strong one. It's crazy.
Huh.
So, okay, this was a kind of a throwaway thing, but there's this movie coming out September 23rd on Netflix called Blonde, and it's about Marilyn Monroe. And the actress who's playing Marilyn Monroe is Ana de Armas. and she was in the movie War Dogs. She was in the movie Knives Out. She was in the recent James Bond movie, and she was in that Keanu Reeves movie where those two girls attacked him, which was the craziest.
Oh, is she the hot little one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
she's playing Marilyn Monroe, and the movie's called Blonde. Comes out September 23rd on Netflix, and it's rated NC-17. And I did some quick Googling about this because I'm like, what's the whole deal? You always hear about NC-17 movies and stuff. And I'm like, what's the deal with them? And I saw that a bunch of movies have been rated NC-17, and then the director cuts out a couple scenes, and then they get an R rating. This happens like a lot. Like with movies that you wouldn't even think of, like a Superbad or something, and then the director just goes and cuts 10 minutes out, and then they give it the R rating. And there's only a couple movies who have like committed to the NC-17 and released it as NC-17. It's actually really rare. It's like really common for them to get that and then do some editing. It's really rare for them to go forward with the NC-17, but this one's doing it. And it's going to be really I'm just saying, when it comes out, you're going to hear people being like, boycott Netflix and stuff like that. It's going to happen because it has an NC-17 rating for apparently a graphic sexual assault scene. And I'm like, I don't want to watch that, but like the movie's going to have so much hype around it, I'm going to want to watch it. But I don't like to watch scenes like that. And it's just weird that they're gonna go through with it, and like everything's gonna go through with it.
My first thought on that is that's weird that they would do that, but then like Netflix backed off on the whole. That irritated me. I mean, it didn't irritate me. I just hate when anybody succumbs to any kind of cancel culture or
Would they back off
anything
on?
like that. The when that show came out that was really popular with fucking like 19-year-old girls. And it's about like the dude who commits suicide and writes all these letters, and then I guess
13 Reasons
there's a
Why.
really famous. Wait, what'd you say?
13 Reasons Why.
Yeah. There was a scene in it.
Yeah, the girl commits suicide.
Yeah, and they show it, and then
Yeah.
it was on air on Netflix for like a month, and then they cut it.
I know.
They cut the scene out.
I was pissed about that. That was a really hard scene to watch, though, too.
But I just don't get why but they're gonna be like, oh, fucking. But then this movie, they'll get a pass on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or will they show it and then everyone's gonna freak out and they'll just cut the scene out of the movie?
Maybe. The stock price tanks.
Yeah.
But I can foresee a lot of controversy around it. But I am a fan
maybe that
of
had nothing
chick.
to do with Netflix. You know what I mean?
What?
Them cutting the scene out of that. You know what I mean? Maybe it was more the branding behind 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? And like that company's just like, let's just cut the scene and not deal with the backlash of this.
They shouldn't have cut it out, in my opinion. It's a bitch move.
Bitch move, dog.
That's all. That's all I got.
Well, I'll tell you what. It's nice to be home. It's great to be home. Cheyenne wasn't, but we were like coming home yesterday or like get home. I'm like, dude, I was done being on vacation. Like I was just done with it.
Yeah.
It gets to a certain point where I just want to be home. I want my bed, but I also you get out of your routine of working. It's not, I don't know. It's like now I'm itching to go back to work. It's like I just want to go back to work. I just want to go not sit here any longer because my brain is starting to fucking like just, you can't just wake up and do nothing all day and then drink and wake up and do nothing the next day and wake up and do nothing the next day. It's, it's not a good place to be. And that's where I was ending up Yeah.
I would have hit that point about a week ago if I were you, I think. But that's just me.
When I was starting to hit it.
Yeah.
Like once everyone had left and then just waking up every day and it's like, yeah, it's cool to be on a boat, but it's lost its fucking luster. Like there's the lake. I've seen it a million times. Like
yeah. Well,
and I just start feeling lazy. Nothing makes me feel good other than working, like actually being productive. And
it's sad.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, for me, who has worked 24 days in a row, at this point, if I had a day off, I literally, it makes me nervous thinking about having a day off because I don't know what I would do with myself. I don't know what I would do.
But I bet you feel good. I bet you're endorphin, like you're feeling good, right? You're like accomplishing. It's giving yourself serotonin all the time. It's just accomplishments and being physical and being out, being out, not just being a bum.
Yeah, definitely. And the money, dude.
Exactly. So you have multiple things. Then your money's coming in. You're just like, hell yeah, this is good.
Hell yeah, it's a good money month up here. But I also don't know what I will do on that first day off. I'm gonna be sitting there staring at the wall, thinking, I don't know what to do.
No, keep the ball rolling, dude. Body in motion stays in motion. So make yourself a long list. You better have a list packed up before you even have a day off. And then once that day off hits, fucking hit the ground running, dog.
Yeah. I'll probably just start packing boxes and just stacking boxes and packing them everywhere.
There you go. I love it. That's right.
Getting rid of shit. I'm getting rid of a lot of shit.
Does your landlord come by your house often? Make sure you stack a bunch of boxes like out front of your house so he drives by and he's like, ah, fuck. And then
no. And getting rid of shit. I've been walking around with garbage bags and just fucking just throwing shit in it. Don't use this.
Dude.
Don't use this.
I got an idea for you, dog. Because he wants you to stay in as long as possible because it's going to save him a bunch of money with you staying, right? Why don't you come at him right now and say, hey, I'll leave by the end of the month, like just because I don't want this over my head, or I'll stay until you sell the house, but you need to cut my rent by 25%.
No, I'm not doing it.
I'm dead. Why? He's doing it to you, dude.
First of all, I signed a contract until April, and so did he.
But he's going to break the contract.
Well, I think you could sell the house, and I still have my contract till April under a new owner.
Yeah, I don't know how that shit works, but
No, neither do I. Don't worry, it's all good.
No, I'm just throwing ideas out there. I know you love your landlord, but
yeah,
I think you could easily get someone, because if I owned a house and my renter did that to me, I'd be like, yeah, fuck it. I mean, the 25% cut is still going to be better than me having to pay the mortgage for fucking, let's say, 4 months with no renter in it.
Right. The main goal is to not collapse in the next 12 days.
Okay. I'm just, throwing ideas, money making ideas,
I appreciate it.
It's all about making that money, dog. And it's you versus the world is how it is. You making as much money as you can and fuck everyone else.
I did have another thing written down, but it just seems like so long ago. But I watched that Norm special, and thanks for that, because that was sad as fuck.
It was really good, though, right?
Yeah, it was really good, but it made me cry like 3 times. And then I was also overly critical about the discussion at the end of it. I started to get really critical about what I was seeing on the screen. It was really weird.
So what about that dwarf joke? Was that not fucking... Or was it him that told the dwarf joke?
I don't remember a dwarf joke. It was good,
What was the other comedy special I told you to watch? I said
Ricky Gervais.
Oh, that was the Ricky Gervais one. Never mind.
But I was just... I was sitting there listening to Adam Sandler talk about Norm McDonald, and I'm just like, why do I feel like there's been a ton of times in my life where I'm listening to Adam Sandler talk about someone who's died? Is like this going to be a common theme throughout my life where I'm listening to Adam Sandler? I'm like, stop talking about what is it with this guy? I'm like, he's always telling stories about someone who's passed away, and I'm just like, it's always him. Why is it always fucking Adam Sandler?
That's weird. I feel that way more about David Letterman. No, yeah. David Letterman.
Yeah, it was weird. And then at another point, David Spade was looking dead into the eyes of Dave Chappelle and explaining to Dave Chappelle about something about Norm's special and like how he wrote it or how he did something about it and like how comedy works. And I'm like, I don't need to see David Spade explaining to Dave Chappelle about comedy. There's maybe 2 people on the planet who can explain to Dave Chappelle about how to do comedy, and David Spade's not one of them. I just started to get really overly critical about the end of it there. It was weird.
Yeah.
You're explaining
Yeah.
to someone on the Mount Rushmore.
but you're also, it's David's. If it was vice versa, it's also like, I totally agree with you. Dave Chappelle is the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time.
Right.
But David Spade has seen way more shit than Chappelle has. His career is twice as long, and he was extremely famous and was best friends with, hands down, the most talented comedian of all fucking time. So it's like, he's no joke either. And so
I know.
If
but
Dave
he's no
Chappelle,
master of stand-up.
No, but he's a master of comedy. And he is 100%. And he's been in the comedy game. He's been in the comedy game for a long fucking time. And he is no fucking joke. So if Dave Chappelle even like got fucking uppity about it, I would get mad at Dave Chappelle. I'd be like, well, bro, like, you may be better at stand-up than David Spade is, and I 100% give you that. But not respecting someone that has done what they've done, and David Spade is a GOAT. Adam Sandler is a fucking GOAT. Dave Chappelle's a GOAT, but
they're GOATs in different areas.
They are. Have you watched the new Chappelle thing on Netflix about him giving the speech to the whole controversy about the school he went to in D.C. They were going to name the school after him. Well, he had done an acceptance speech and for the school, and they aired it on Netflix. And there's it's not, and he's not really doing comedy sketches. It's kind of is. He's like throwing it into a speech. It's like a 40-minute speech he gives to the school. And, but I agree with him, but he comes out and says some of the cockiest bullshit. He's just like, there's a moment in the speech when he's like, no one is as good as I am. And he's dead fucking serious. He's like, I am the best. He's like, out of all my peers, he's like, I've seen every comedian ever, and no one matches. He's like, I dare you to put out a special better than the closer. He's like, there is no special better than the closer. It's the greatest piece of stand-up comedy ever created. And he's like he says it with that confidence. I'm like, it's super arrogant for someone to say something like that, but I do agree with you. You are the greatest. You are a fucking master of stand-up comedy. Right. But to say it is a little weird, but I also kind of respect it of like, it's 50-50 to me. I hate people there's a lot of comedians, if they said that, I'm like, you're an arrogant fucking asshole. If Joe Rogan were to say that, I'd be like, yeah. Slow your fucking roll, bro. Like, You're not allowed to say that. And almost any comedian, even if Bill Burr said that, I'd be like,
well, yeah. You're not supposed to say that.
You're not supposed to say it. But Dave Chappelle saying it, it was weird. I accept, like,
it's very Kanye of him.
He's the only one though. I don't disagree. I'm sure so many people it pissed off. I bet a bunch of comedians it pissed off. Like, can't fucking say that, bro. Can't say that. But he's not wrong. Write a better special, because there is no better special. Right. That and Sticks and Stones are fucking untouchable. They're masterpieces.
Yeah, I'd say it took me to a different place when David Spade started explaining something to him. I'm like, I don't know. It just took me out of it. But
I didn't get that at all. I'm going to have to go rewatch that deal. And I don't like... There's something about David Letterman that fucking bugs me. Like, I just...
Yeah, I don't know.
Weird. Now that we're saying all their names, it's weird how many fucking Daves and Davids there are just in that one goddamn room of people.
Yeah, I know.
You have David Spade, Dave Chappelle, David Letterman.
Maybe we're too young for David Letterman, but... Or my parents never watched... Fucking.
When I watched, I don't know. My first real sit down with him was very recent, and it was the.
You sat down and talked to him?
No. Sit down and listen to him. Was his show on Netflix? David Letterman. Next Guest or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think I watched 2 of those episodes, and I was like, I can't fucking stand this guy. I do not like his politics. I don't like what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I don't agree with any of his views on the world. And I just like shut down then. But then after all this Norm stuff that happens, and Norm fucking loved him, it made me like rethink David Letterman. But I still, my gut tells me I don't like this guy. I do not like what he's about. But everyone fucking loves him. Comedians fucking love that guy. And so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Well, that's it for me.
Rock and roll, buddy. Well, I'm glad
Are you
we
gonna
got
listen
one
to
in.
Just a Little Shady?
Oh, I'm sure if I remember it. I don't listen to
You're not gonna
podcasts unless I'm driving somewhere. So it won't be till Monday if I remember it on Monday morning or Tuesday morning.
Well, I'm just gonna keep working
I'm
away.
glad we got one in, episode 90. We're fucking creeping up on 100, man. Sorry I was gone for 2 weeks, and I think we missed the 3-week one. I think it's been damn near a month since we've done one.
It's okay.
Oh, you didn't even want to do one this month, right? Did I force you into one you didn't even want to do?
No, I don't
forgot
know.
all about that.
I don't
thought
know.
you said like, dude, I'm gonna be working the whole time. We can just count July out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna try to not go too crazy.
Boom. Well, until next time, guys. We love you. Thanks for stopping by. See you later.
In the dark, I was just trying to feel something, falling asleep to the sound of it. Always used to let you clean up the messes, down on my knees, thought I couldn't stand up on my own. Turns out sometimes you're stronger alone. Bringing out the fight, yeah, bring on all the lightning. 'Cause I'm looking for a hero, look inside the mirror, I found one. Oh, carry the hurt when it gets too hard, pick it up, dust it off. When I fall down 11, I get up 12, don't need nobody else. Yeah, I can save myself. Got burned, but I learned our scars make us who we are. Now I'm 10 feet tall over my demons. Remind me no one's got me like myself. Yeah, I love me without any help. I'm the best thing to believe in. So I'm bringing out the fight, yeah, bring on all the lightning. 'Cause I'm looking for a hero, look inside the mirror, I found one. Oh, carry the hurt when it gets too hard, pick it up, dust it off. When I fall down 11, I get up 12, don't need nobody else. Yeah, I can save myself. Oh, 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 yeah. I could crumble into pieces, but I got a million reasons why I won't. 'Cause this heavy is a season, and the sun is always right behind the storm.